The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business. From $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters at Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome to the Icons of Real Estate. I'm Tim Calloway. We have a very special guest for you today from San Clemente, California, Holly McKhann from the McKhann Group. Holly has actually flipped over 200 homes before she became involved in being a realtor and helping people like you buy and sell homes in the, would you call that the Southern California area?
Yeah, Orange County. Yeah.
Orange County, beautiful Southern California area. Holly, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time. So tell me, I know in your bio that you and your husband started flipping homes some time ago and have a ton of experience in that area. So let's start there. How did you get started in flipping homes? And, you know, did you just go out and see one and say, hey, you know what, that would be a good flip? How did that work?
Well, it's kind of funny because on our very first phone conversation, when I called him to ask him out on a date 31 plus years ago, we both talked about how we were really interested in that. And that was back in 1991, before home flipping was a thing or even cool,
Right.
But we both had a lot of interest in that. We didn't do anything about it until 2008 when we did buy our first house to flip in a town called Moreno Valley. It's out in the Inland Empire.
Right.
So it's, inland from LA, probably an hour and a half. And the reason we did it is my husband had quit his job. He worked for national home builders over the course of 8 years. And he had done a little development project on the side that netted him a big chunk of money. And he quit his job in 2006. So like, okay, we got some money. What do we do now? So when we were looking at investment opportunities, house flipping was the one that really landed for us.
Nice. So you had a little bit of money together. What did the process look like? I mean, I guess because I talked to so many people who do something similar, they're like, I need guidance, like what's step one, what's step two? Did you go out and find somebody who had done it before, or did you create a new process for yourself?
We did take a boot camp course from a gentleman who I just think is the most amazing, smartest man. His name is Bruce Norris. He's based out of Riverside, California, but he did recently move to Florida and is refocusing his investing efforts entirely in Florida.
Interesting.
But we went to a little boot camp and had a few days. He took us around, on a bus and showed us before and after homes he'd done, gave us some formulas and things. And we started, and we actually did our first 100 home purchases at auctions. So the courthouse steps, as people call it.
Courthouse steps, yeah. That's exciting. I mean, so that's changed a little bit. And, I don't want to get too far off the beaten path, but I love hearing flipping stories. I'll call them those flipping stories.
Yeah.
Because it's been sensationalized a little bit. I mean, from HGTV or whomever, you might watch.
Yeah.
But it takes real work. I mean, the belief that you could just go down to the courthouse, you make a bid, and then, 2 weeks later, the home's hot on the market. It is definitely not the real story. Am I right, Holly?
You are correct. And we did really well because even though the market was still going down in 2008, the banks were giving the homes away at typically 50 to 65 cents on the dollar, which means if the home would resell for $100,000, we'd pick it up for 50 or 55,000.
Wow.
But it was the Wild West. I mean, you show up with cashier's checks. If you buy a second mortgage instead of a first, you're out of luck. You just lost all that money. And if the house burns down before you can get insurance on it, you're also out of luck.
Right.
It's very high risk, but there was some good rewards too. Thankfully, we never had any of those horrible things happen. But it was good while it lasted. But then the big hedge funds moved in like maybe
Right.
2011 and pushed us little guys out because our capital was a few million and they're working with hundreds of millions. So
Right.
it was insane. So had to go to a new game plan.
So you're gonna leave me hanging? What's the new game plan?
So my husband looked at me and said, you like to talk to people, you're social, you like to network. Why don't you go out and find us some deals? Go network with people. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
Right.
So the next 100+ houses we bought were from me networking primarily with realtors, where I'd say, bring me your ugly, disgusting houses, the hoarders, the stinky ones, the moldy ones, the fire damaged ones, hot growing houses, whatever.
Right.
We'll buy them with you and we'll resell them with you. So primarily that was our lead source, if you want to call it that. And then also I did purchase some from wholesalers, which are people that don't have the money, but they tie up the house with a contract and then they turn around and assign the contract to me for a fee. So I was fine with that. I'll pay a fee for something that I can make money on.
Would you say that's you playing the long game and them playing the short game? Because you are still flipping, so you're still a short game, but you're not a buy and hold. But they're playing a really short game, right? The wholesaler, and you're playing a little bit of the longer game. You're willing to go in and fix the house up, so on and so forth.
Yeah, what they're doing takes little to no capital. I mean, the primary capital expenditures are for marketing on their part, where they're sending out mailers, I'll pay cash for your home. When they don't have the cash, it's me that has the access to that. So yeah, but a lot of times that was better because maybe they made money and then maybe I lost money. I mean, there's been plenty of times when we lost money. I won't tell you that in over 250 houses we've done, we've made money every time. We haven't. So
well, now you're breaking my heart.
It's
People don't want to hear
okay.
that. No, of course. I mean, there's always that hedge of possibility in any investment, whether it's real estate or not, that you're going to lose money. It just happens. Okay, so we talked about how you got started a little bit. We talked about the flipping side, and really we talked about how you got into being a realtor. I mean, you went and got your license at that point, or did that come soon after, or how did that
Well,
work?
I'll tell you what it was. My husband had said for a couple of years, I'm going to get my real estate license. And he bought a course and it sat on the shelf and he never did anything with it. And meanwhile, I was very busy being a full-time mom to 4 children who are now ages 20 to 28, but they were much younger back then. And I was very happy to be able to give them my full attention at the time. So I was getting involved a little bit, but not too much. But a couple things. Number one, when I was coaching the realtors how to represent me, I was getting a little frustrated, as well as we bought this one house from a wholesaler in a town called Studio City, which is the north side of Los Angeles, as in movie studios, like that area of town. And we knew it was going to resell for over $1 million. And my husband said, we can't just toss that out to, a local agent like we sometimes did on our exit strategy of our flips. He said, Holly, just go get your license. Will you do it? I'm like, okay. So I did. I got my license with the intent to be able to represent ourselves on that one flip.
Sure.
But then I decided, and then I was doing more. I really liked the interacting with the public since I like to talk to people.
Right.
And I decided to give it a shot at actually helping regular people buy and sell homes. And I loved it.
We mere mortals, right? Yeah, I mean, that's great. I think that's fantastic in representing yourself. I mean, you don't have to worry too much about, how much they're going to actually present your home, or what you're paying in fee. All that up front. So no, that's fantastic. So where do you spend most of your time? I mean, are you spending more time as a buyer's agent, listing agent, or are you spending more time on flipping homes? But I have to say, before you answer that question, you're going to have to be on my other podcast. Believe it or not, I make this comment every time, and I just made it to someone up in Marin County. You got to come to my Parents of 4 Kids podcast, because I'm a parent of 4 kids. And I always say it's very different person that can have as many as 4 kids or above. And I always joke that there should be a podcast for people who have 4 kids, because it's kind of an anomaly nowadays, so
Oh, definitely.
kudos to you for handling, multiple businesses basically, and raising 4 kids. That's fantastic.
Well,
So yeah,
thank you.
so tell me more about it. I kind of got off topic there, but I had to tell you that. So tell me, I mean, you're a realtor, you're flipping homes, you're doing all this, you're raising kids. How does that work? You know?
It was very busy. And there were times even like I remember that we'd be in a Home Depot line because we would be choosing, we wouldn't shop for everything for the houses, but we would
Right.
choose finishes. Like, okay, we're gonna pick out the kitchen faucet. The contractor can go buy the drywall, the 2x4s, like all that stuff. But I'm gonna pick out the light fixtures, the faucets, the stuff that really shows. And the kids would be like, "Oh, we have to go to Home Depot again." And I have 3 boys and 1 girl, and the boys love to like bug each
Oh,
other, beat
sure.
each other up. So we would always be quite the spectacle. This family of, if I'm lucky, I'd only have 2 to 3 kids with me, but it was a bit insane. But it's kind of rewarding and exciting now because my 28-year-old son is now doing Airbnb properties. His wife quit her job and she's doing that full time because she's replaced her income. So
Nice.
they own a property and they're doing the arbitrage with rentals.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that even though they probably kind of resented me at times when they'd have to come along on weekends when we're working, hopefully they're going to achieve financial freedom at a much younger age from learning about real estate investing and everything that we did. So
Yeah, that's fantastic. See, they can just stand on your shoulders now, and
yeah.
all those mistakes that were made, if there were any, I'm not saying there were. You said you lost a little money. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
isn't that what we want for our kids, right? We want them to surpass what we could do, and it
Yeah.
gives us great, I call it pride, not hubris, but pride, to
Yes.
be able to assist them in reaching that goal. So kudos to you once again. That's fantastic. So we talked about the past quite a bit. And then, so tell me what's happening today. I mean, are you spending more time listing homes, or you got 200 more flips in you?
We do love the flipping, and I'm going to tell you that as a realtor, it's a really fun thing for me to leverage. So I have 4 flips locally in San Clemente, Dana Point, and I have one on the market in Laguna Niguel. So all South Orange County. And it's really great when I'm doing an open house that I can tell people walking in, hey, well, I've got some other ones under construction if you want to check those out if this isn't the right house. So that really helps my business. So
Sure.
my message to realtors out there is if you can get involved with a flipper, or maybe you become the flipper, it's a great way to grow your potential client base. And another fun thing I do with the flips, which maybe someone could do with a flipper if they kind of partner up in some way, is I have client parties, Adam. So probably every 4 to 6 months is what it's been. We host a party for clients, get a catered dinner brought in. I put up pictures around the house of what it used to look like for the before photos.
Wow.
They're seeing the after. And my husband loves to go around and say, because he manages the construction, not me.
Right.
He'll say, well, we knocked out this wall and we put a support beam in here. And this is how I rearranged the floor plan, because he always makes them better. 1960s and 70s architecture can usually be
Right.
improved upon by someone.
Right. It's always amazing, you look at stuff and go, look how much better we made this. And then you're thinking, what were they thinking in the 60s and 70s? But then again, in 50 years, someone's going to come back to that house and go, what were Holly and Scott thinking back in 2020? This is ridiculous. I
Yeah.
can't help but feel that way, right? It's like, no matter
Yeah.
what I do, someone's going to come along later. Having kids, you probably know this, tastes are far different, right? I mean, no matter what.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is.
Well, I
So
have a quick story about that
yeah,
I want to share. So my
go
own
ahead.
home in San Clemente, we purchased to flip, and then we figured out a way we could get a loan on and move into it because we just thought it was way out of our price range, but we
Mhm.
figured it out. There was a giant fireplace that was probably 10 feet wide, and then it went up to about a 4 or 5 foot wide chimney that blocked the entire ocean view. When you walked in the front door, it was just a big brick fireplace. And I brought that up to some older agent recently said, it's so weird because that's not the only house to have an ocean view blocked by a big fireplace. And he told me back in the 60s and 70s, all the marketing was geared toward, imagine having a coffee right by your fireplace, the warmth of the fire. And I thought, forget that. I want to see the ocean. But there were different priorities back then. So you're exactly right that things will change. Probably 50 years from now, they're going to say, oh, another stupid open floor plan. Let's close it right up.
Right. Let's box everybody in and cozy up next to the fireplace as it's 82 degrees outside, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, that's, you know, as I told you, I'm also in Florida. It blows my mind sometimes that I'll go into a unit and look at it and go, why are there two fireplaces in this place? And I would really just think about it. But I then realized, and I was told something, since the majority of people in Florida are not natives, right? Everybody moves to Florida.
Right.
Seems like the people born here leave, you know, but we get a heavy migration from primarily the Northeast, New York, Connecticut, the New England states. They're used to 2 or 3 fireplaces. And when they come down here, as much as they want to be part of the Florida experience, they tend to build homes and or add to their homes some of the creature comforts that they had for 40 years. And they'll put in fireplaces. They don't know how to live without them. They have to have them at Christmas for the mantle. They have to have them in the winter in case it gets cold, you know, and it's all these things. And that's why, you know, builders aren't coming in going, hey, you need a fireplace. You know, it's these Miami days, these Miami nights get really cold. It's 75, 76 degrees. So, but it's the people, like you said, it's just the mindset at the time. So Holly, we talked about, and I'm sorry for rambling. We talked about how you got into the industry. We kind of talked about where you are now, kind of what you're working on. So let's put on our prognostication hats real quick. You know what? I'm not going to ask you about 5 years because after the past 1.5, 2 years, I'll never ask about a 5-year plan again because that gets just thrown out the window. What's the next year look like for yourself, maybe for you and your husband in your endeavors in flipping homes? What does that look like?
He's still the master of the flipping, and I am out there helping regular buyers and sellers. My business is about half and half with buyers and sellers. And I use my renovation knowledge and skills and contractors to help both. We just renovated a house for a seller that was primarily original. And I know we got them about 300,000 more than they would have got before. Now we invested 120,000, but that's a nice return on investment.
Yeah.
And then for buyers, multiple times I've had buyers buy an ugly, outdated house. They give my contractor the key. I make no money off it, but it helps me sell houses. And she gives it a full renovation before they move in 1 month.
Right.
So we'll be doing more of both of that and just growing and helping regular people here in South Orange County buy and sell properties with all of my experience. When I've been a seller myself over 250 times, I know what it's like. And I don't part with my client's money easily. I treat it like my own. I don't just give it away where I'm going to fight for them. So
nice. Yeah, I think that's very important. I'm going to throw you a curveball. And the only reason I'm going to throw you the curveball is because we've both been through a lot of the same things. And I'm pretty confident you know what I'm talking about here. Is there a lot of tear down rebuilds going on in your area at all? I mean, there's not a lot of new land, right? New land isn't just terraforming in front of us. And then a lot of people don't want to move into the size home that maybe in 1965 people were moving into, and maybe not even in 1995 because we were building mini mansions everywhere sometimes. But are there a lot of tear down rebuilds of people saying, look, I don't want to move into a new community because they're all the same. I really want something very special, very custom. Is that, but there's not enough lots. Can we tear down a home or two and put that? Is that happening a lot there?
That happens near the beach in an area called Southwest San Clemente on the ocean side of the freeway. If it's walking distance to the beach, it's all custom homes there because that was before tracts of homes started. And you will see that definitely. Well, they will tear down like a smaller, older home that's on a big lot and build a big, gorgeous home. But you do see a lot of renovations because there's no more land really.
Right.
to build new tracts of homes, not in San Clemente. So
Yeah.
people will buy the older one, get it fixed up, and enjoy the closeness to the beach.
So I'm gonna ask the first money question that I don't normally ask money questions, but what would be this is all personal, selfish questioning. What would be the cost of one of those lots in that area in San Clemente that if I wanted to buy it and build, I know how much it would cost me to build, but what would one of those lots cost with a house that I would just tear down? Roughly
Probably $2 million.
$2 million. So I'm gonna
Just a
make
couple million.
yeah, I'm just gonna make for a 0.38, a 3/8 lot. I'm gonna spend 2 million and then tear down the house that's there, and then spend another 2 million to build the house that I want. Okay, that's what I wanted
Yeah.
to. It happens
that's
everywhere. It happens here too. And it happened in Dallas when I was there in Highland Park. I mean, there's just areas where, and it's always pocket areas, like you were saying. It's never like everywhere. It's always these pocket areas that people want to be in. There's lots. Well, good stuff. Well, so are you helping others learn how to flip or anything like that, or is that something that's part of your ultimate plan, or is it just internal, or do you help others in doing the same thing? Like if somebody wanted to get in touch with you and say, "Hey, I live in Southeast Florida, and I want to learn how to flip," is that something you do, or something you ever thought of? It sounds like you really know your stuff. That's why I'm asking.
Well, I will tell you that was a plan of mine like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a podcast out there called Hard Hat Holly. Have a pink hard hat on, Secrets to Real Estate Investing. I'm assuming it's still up on iTunes. And I interview a lot of successful investors, flippers, wholesalers, all of that. So right now, I don't think I would be of any help to someone in Florida, but I do have people. I am on the Bigger Pockets website as an agent that you can choose to work with, and I pay for that to be on that. That's how you work with them if you're a realtor and you want to get on there to be an investor-friendly realtor. So I've actually had several people contact me through there, or people, my clients that know what we do and see what we do because I have these parties and stuff.
Yeah.
They've approached me and asked me to help them. I'm like, sure, I'll help you, in whatever way I can. I can help you analyze it, run the numbers, and see if it makes sense.
Right. I think just with your experience, that's something we would all love to hear you share. So how would someone get in touch with you, Holly, if they wanted to buy or list a home in in Orange County or anywhere in California, I guess?
Well, my website is OC Holly for Orange County Holly. So ocholly.com. Nice and easy for you.
Yeah. And
you can see me on Instagram with a lot of great videos with me giving tips about how to prepare a house for sale and or like what we're doing with our flips and stuff. So if you like the behind the scenes of that, what color paint I choose, what color fixtures, all of that to make it most appealing. So I'm Holly_McKhann_realtor on Instagram. And I'm happy to give out my phone number if you want that too.
100%. People do it all the time. Go ahead.
Okay. So my number, you can call or text me. This is my mobile number, 949-295-7770.
There it is. So if you want to get in touch with Holly and talk about listing your home or buying one of those beautiful lots for $2 million, she's there for you. Holly, I'm going to go ahead and give you the last word. Anything we didn't cover, anything you want to talk about near and dear to your heart?
Well, something that I think is important. So if you're a realtor, you should share this with your clients. And if you're not a realtor, you should take it to heart that the wealthy either make their money in real estate or continue to grow it and invest it in real estate. So real estate as an investable asset is really important. We have all of our money in real estate, which is probably not smart, but it's what we know. Right. So make sure that you as a realtor are doing your best to grow your own wealth by investing in real estate. And so many great resources out there to learn how to do it, especially biggerpockets.com. So, yeah.
Hey, Holly, great advice. I look forward to talking to you again, maybe 6-8 months down the road, see how things are going and catch up with you guys and see how many flips you've gotten done in that amount of time. See if one of those $2 million lots are available for less than $2 million.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the opportunity. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
All right, Holly. Thanks so much. And you have a good one.